somebody you summon to help you win the grail. The man is awful. Hey, what is up, you guys? This is Silver Fang, and today I'm back with another video. And the topic of today's day is Archer Gilgamesh. I'm gonna be giving you guys my thoughts on his character, his abilities, how good is he as a servant, everything I think about Archer Gilgamesh. And with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So guys, before we get started, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button. I actually created a second channel. I decided to keep this main channel mostly about Fate. The Nasuverse is extremely large, and I'll probably have content forever for this channel. But I also wanted to cover some of the other animes that I watch. And if you're interested in that, the link to that channel will be in the description box. I already made the first video for it. It's a One Piece discussion where my thoughts on the Wano arc and where I think it's headed. So if you're interested in that, please go to that second channel, subscribe, link is in the description. That channel is gonna cover everything else that's not Fate. Is gonna cover One Piece, probably My Hero Academia, the last season of Attack on Titan, all those other animes that I watch that I don't cover on this channel are gonna be covered on that channel. So if you want to be a part of that, if you watch other animes, One Piece, Attack on Titan, etc., please go head over there, subscribe. The link is in the description. Do it now, come back here and watch this video. Alright, so Archer Gilgamesh. Let's get the good things out of the way. The man is a freaking king. The golden king. The man has gold from head to toe. The dude is like, his epithet says it. He's the king of heroes. He is actually my second favorite servant, right below Archer Emiya. And the reason why I like him so much, it's most of the times when I like a certain heroic spirit or character in any anime, it doesn't have to do with how strong they are. Sometimes it comes into play, but most of the times it has to do with their characters or designs. Their powers, if they look cool, that helps too, but it's mostly based on character and design for me. So as you guys know, Gilgamesh, like, his design is freaking fire. Like, the man has a golden freaking armor, and he has every possible weapon that you can imagine. And the dude is a freaking king. The dude has red eyes. Like, come on, the design is fire. So that's one of the good things about Gilgamesh. His design is fire. Now, we gotta talk about his character. And Gilgamesh is really arrogant and annoying, but he can pull it off somehow. Some way, somehow, the annoying, stubbornness, all of it, he can pull it off somehow. Like, this man is scary entertaining, bro. Like, the man, I love watching him.
What?
Like, the dude, oh, that came out wrong. No, but on all seriousness, like, every scene with Gilgamesh is entertaining, whether he's giving a speech or he's just clowning around, which we don't see it that much. But even, like, he has some fun moments in Zero with, like, CAREE and whatnot. Even when he was just, like, lying around drinking wine, talking to CAREE, like, that scene was entertaining. Every time Gilgamesh is on camera or on the scene is entertaining. So that's one of the good things. In Babylonia, the man, in my opinion, like, the dude made the arc. Like, the best characters for me in Babylonia were Gilgamesh in a sense, and Anna. I really enjoyed Anna and her character development. But yeah, like Gilgamesh was a freaking beast, bro. And it was nice to see him in a new light. Like, not that arrogant, not, well, he was still arrogant. That's not the word. But it was good to see him like acting like not such a dick. Yeah, it was nice to see him not acting like an ass. But at the same time, the man was still entertaining. Every single time Fujimaru and Mash walked into that throne room, you know that you were going to be entertained. From the first time they met, like Gilgamesh just said, everybody clear the room. I'm about to have some fun. Like, that was crazy. Like, the man, and then in the middle of the action, taking on all these guys by himself, he was like, yeah, I'm done. This is done. Come back when you can fight. Like, the man, come on, dude. The man is entertaining. Now, let's talk about, like, his powers. The Gate of Babylon. I mean, typically, I don't like a character who, like, just, like, stands there and, like, shoots stuff. Like, honestly, like, somebody like Gaara, right, from Naruto. I like his character, but his fighting style, I don't really like it at all. Somebody like Byakuya, who's amazingly cool in Bleach, but his fighting style, I don't know. I don't like it. Now, Gilgamesh, the man, I don't know how he does it. Maybe it's because every time he's fighting, like, his character shines through, and he's just, yes, he's just shooting stuff, but the stuff that he's saying while just standing there shooting his Gate of Babylon makes the fights actually entertaining. Like, his character is his worst trait, but it's also the best trait for us viewers. Like, the man is extremely entertaining. Now, if we talk about his powers, like the Gate of Babylon, Enkidu, Ea, the man has powers for days. One of the most powerful servants for sure. For sure, one of the most powerful servants. Just on Ea alone, I mean, they say the weapon doesn't make the man. In Gilgamesh's case, maybe it does. Like, the man, like, the man's treasury is his whole thing. Like, the weapons, in Gilgamesh's case, the weapons do make the man. This man spent his whole life collecting these weapons and treasures, everything humanity had to offer, and he makes it work. He makes it work. Now, let's get into the other side of the coin. We talked about how he's really powerful. We talked about how he's a king. We talked about all of that. Those are the good things about Gilgamesh. Now we gotta talk about the not so good things. And is that, dude, the man is arrogant to a fault. Like, one thing is, it's okay to be arrogant. I mean, if that makes you happy, be you, whatever. But when you fail, like when you constantly fail because you're too arrogant, then that's not that great. You know, like, it's okay to be cocky if you want to be. I mean, the man is a freaking king. The man does his thing. But, like, dude, when you lose to somebody like Shiro because you're being arrogant, dude, 2/3 God. The man has the highest divinity out of all the heroic spirits. The man has a treasury full of the most advanced, the most powerful weapons you could possibly think of, and has the means to block almost all the attacks that Shiro has to throw at him, but lost. The man didn't put on his armor, didn't use Enkidu, didn't want to use Ea, and by the time he kind of realized that he had no choice, It was too late. So it's one thing to be arrogant, and it's a completely different thing to fail because of your arrogance. Like that's something completely different. And when you dude, if we take a look at Gilgamesh's track record, in State Night he lost against Saber. Granted, Saber isn't a slouch, but Gilgamesh was just playing around with her. And then he got defeated like he always does. Then that was in the original State Night. Then we jump into Heaven's Field, and the man gets defeated again, gets eaten. Then we go back to Unlimited Blade Works. The man loses to Shiro. Now, don't get me wrong, he has some wins under his belt. He beat Heracles, which is not a small feat. But it's the thing, it depends on who Gilgamesh is fighting, because he was fighting Heracles, and he knew that Heracles wasn't somebody that he could take lightly. He knew who he was, and he knew he couldn't take this man lightly. So obviously he used Enkidu, opened his gate to a fair amount of, like, the whole room that they were, he surrounded the man with Gate of Babylon. So he was being kind of serious in a sense. When you see Gilgamesh either using Enkidu, that's like 25% serious, because he wasn't even wearing his armor. But he was serious enough to take on Heracles and win. And even then, just because he didn't have his armor on, he almost got defeated. Because at the end, Heracles kept on fighting and made this man almost peed his pants. And that was kind of foreshadowing to what was going to happen later on in the Unlimited Blade Works anime. Because, dude, the man refuses to. If Gilgamesh wanted to, he could just go. For example, in Zero, there was this scene where Gilgamesh was in. Berserker was there, Ishkandar was there, Artoria was there. I think all the servants were there. Assassin was there, but he was not in sight. I don't know if Gilgamesh knew where he was. But all the servants were together. Think about this. Which one of them? And Saber was injured at the moment too. That's another thing. Saber was actually injured. So which servant was gonna be able to stop an Aya blast at that moment? Gilgamesh could have won the war at that moment, right then and there. He could have won the war. He could have, dude, the man could have freaking killed everybody if he actually wanted to. And which brings me to my next point. As a servant, as somebody you summon to help you win the Grail, the man is awful. He is like the last servant that I would like to summon. There's no working with this man. Like, the dude, as soon as Gilgamesh is summoned, you as the master, you're no longer in charge. You're no longer in charge. And it's a problem because the man doesn't have any wish for the Grail. The man doesn't care about anything. He already lived a full life. And in that life, he achieved everything he ever wanted. Right? He obtained every treasure, had every woman. Like, the man doesn't want anything. In fact, he at one point owned the Grail. So he doesn't want the Grail. But he's also not benevolent enough. Is that the word? Benevolent enough to help you win. The man was just sitting there. Unless some other servants come and piss him off, or there's not a servant that he's interested in fighting, the man won't help you. So as a servant, the dude kind of sucks. Honestly, like, to be honest, he's one of my favorite characters, the second favorite. But as a servant, I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want him. And God forbid you use a freaking command seal to force him to do something he doesn't want to do. Next thing you know, you're dead. And you can't say something as vague as, like, you're gonna follow all of my orders, like Waver tried to do with Iskandar. How command seals work is like, you need to be specific. If you're too vague about what you want, the command spell loses power. Iskandar was able to ignore Waver's orders, I guess. But so if Iskandar was able to do it, then Gilgamesh should be able to do the same thing. Now, if you force this man to do anything he doesn't want to do, most likely they're not. You're gonna die in the next few minutes, probably. So, for example, imagine if Tosaka, this man would have forced Gilgamesh to use Ea on Bluebeard. Imagine that. Because he wanted Gilgamesh to defeat Bluebeard. But imagine if Tosaka would have forced Gilgamesh and said, use Ea, defeat that monster. Gilgamesh would have pulled out Ea and probably defeated Bluebeard. But right after, he would have turned right around and, you mongrel, you forced me to use my Ea? What is... Kill this man immediately. So it's like, dude, there's no working with this man. And again, it's one thing to be arrogant, which is one of his best qualities because he can actually pull it off. But it's another thing to fail because of your arrogance. And Gilgamesh has failed time and time again because of his arrogance. Now, there's been very, very, very few instances where we've seen Gilgamesh actually be serious. And granted, in that fight with Herc, he did open his gate and he did use Enkidu, but he didn't have his armor on. He wasn't using Ea. And there's only a few instances where we've seen Gilgamesh actually be serious. The one that I can think of is against Tiamat. The man came in there, shot her down. I don't know if you guys remember when he actually showed up in Babylonia. The dude like immediately opened his gate by an incredible amount. Immediately. And right after then, he even gave Fujimaru one of his treasures. He had his arm, well, half his armor on. The dude was half naked. and at the end, when he finally saw that Gilgamesh, Tiamat was killable, he didn't hesitate to pull out Ea. And that's another thing. So the fact that he's heavily influenced by the era that he summoned in is good in a sense. It makes him interesting. But when he's summoned to the modern time, it's not gonna be pretty. Because remember, Gilgamesh is the king of Uruk, one of the first civilizations and the most prosperous civilization in its time. So imagine this, right? You come from a kingdom where every single person has a role. The most pathetic person with the most pathetic job has a role that make the wheels of Uruk turn. Even if you're just collecting mud, which is basically their whole shtick, but you're contributing, and every single person in Uruk is contributing. And then you're summoned to this modern time, And remember, heroic spirits get knowledge of the era that they're summoned. So it's like you're summoned to this time where, yes, you got helpful people, but you also have pretty useless people. And then Gilgamesh is like, oh no. Yeah, I can't stand to see this. I'm just gonna kill everybody, or I don't care. That's pretty much what you're gonna get with him. So damn, it's kind of sad really when you think about it. But hey, I don't particularly agree with his philosophy, but at the same time, I can understand him. It's hard to like judge the man. Like, he's coming from an era where everybody has a role. Every single person, the smallest person, the person with the most pathetic job has a role. So I could kind of see where he's coming from. But at the same time, when you summon a servant to win a Grail War, you expect that servant. It's in the titles, for God's sakes. You're the master and he's the servant. Granted, it shouldn't be like a slave master situation, but you would at least expect that the heroic spirit that you summon has some interest in helping you win the Grail, or at least has some interest in the Grail themselves. So Gilgamesh, in a nutshell, great character, great personality, kinda, sort of, if you dig that type of stuff. Fighting style, not the best, but he makes it work. Powerful, incredibly powerful. When it comes to this destructive power, anti-world noble phantasm, the man is powerful and has a tool for everything. So the man is good. The man is good. He's really, really good. But as a servant, not the guy you want to summon, not the guy you want to have. If he doesn't agree with you, you're screwed. The moment he's summoned, you're no longer in charge. Don't you ever dare to use a command spell on Mr. Gilgamesh, King of Heroes, because you'll probably die soon after. So there you go. My thoughts on freaking Gilgamesh. The man is great, but not so great. But at the same time, those things is what makes him such an entertaining character. Not a great character, but definitely entertaining. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. As a reminder, please go check out the description box. Head over to the other channel if you're interested in other anime. I have some fun stuff planned for it. I just made a One Piece video. Next, I'm probably going to react to the Attack on Titan opening. I'm probably going to try to react to episode 1 of season 4 and hopefully other episodes after. So if you're interested in that, please go ahead, check out the channel, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As I always say, have an awesome day. Catch you guys in the next one.